I've been actually in a rabbit hole of research ever since I saw the first look of Eetha when I had gone to see Cocktail 2 in theatres. The reason why I have been obsessing for a few days is because it focuses on a celebrated Marathi dancer, singer and tamasha artist Vitabai Gawankar, a figure who was raved about in public forums but was also going through dire emotional and financial circumstances personally. It is the tragic dichotomy of an artist who is getting cheers and claps from the audience but is suffering from within personally. I immediately think of the irony presented in Mera Naam Joker, where the artist entertains the audience but behind the garb of what they present to the public, behind the mask and makeup, you have nothing but deep sadness and struggles. Shraddha Kapoor being cast as a celebrated artist, in my opinion, is the perfect casting because you are looking at not only an artist who is popular in commercial Hindi cinema, but an actor who is well versed with the Marathi language. In order for a movie to propel beyond the confines of just being labeled a female-led film or being termed as underrated because one assumes that there are less takers of such genres, one definitely needs a popular face, and I think Shraddha Kapoor fits this character perfectly for it also to be projected at the scale at which Maddock is presenting it. I mean, I have grown up with Vidya Balan delivering commercial hits with movies like Dirty Picture and Kahani, Kangana Ranaut delivering commercial bangers like Queen and Tanu Weds Manu, Alia and Deepika Padukone with Razi and Piku, making sure that producers understand that films with female leads can achieve great monetary success, but while all of this may seem like ideas that are a decade old to you or be representative of a world that was a distant memory, I am telling you the audience tunes in for entertaining stories, irrespective of there being a male or female lead associated with the movie. See what a tale like Ma Inti Bangaram is experiencing in the Telugu speaking states. The movie has literally opened to numbers that certain male stars would dream of, and I think this will be the fate of Itha too, especially in a state like Maharashtra. While reading about Vitabai Gawankar, I stumbled upon this short film created on the YouTube channel WWI Films. The short film presents how a little Vitha had experienced abject poverty in her childhood. Even though her family boasted of many folk artists who were celebrated, they were not monetarily doing well at all. It's this obsession of the craft, this love for the arts that makes her story so compelling. From an optics point of view, when one steps in for a Vitabai Gawankar tamasha, you would assume that she may be doing so well in her life personally and monetarily, but the reality was extremely disheartening. Having to deal with a partner who had taken massive debts, she was compelled to perform even when she was 9 months pregnant. While performing, realizing that her water has broken and going backstage to deliver her baby on her own, shockingly having to cut the umbilical cord with a rock available next to her, only to sense that the audience is getting restless that she hasn't appeared on stage in a while. Fearing that the show may transition to become a disaster and she may not get paid for the same, she returned on stage to complete her performance, only for the audience to acknowledge what may have happened, stopping the show and showering her with praise of what she has just done. A lot of people reference this story as a sign of courage, of the sacrifices that an artist makes for the sake of art, even when dealing with the toughest circumstances, all for the sake of the performance. There is a romanticization of the suffering associated with the art, and I feel like while there is some merit to this argument, the pressure that makes Diamond's argument that some of the best art is made out of the deepest angst and suffering, the story is also a tragedy of the lack of humanity that exists between an artist and the audience, how the audience is only concerned about the final product that they see on stage, how the audience could not care less about the personal suffering of the artist, and even if the public sees an artist struggling while being clearly, visibly pregnant, what they want is for their need of entertainment to be satiated. They do not want to listen to a sob story about what is one going through. It's this hollow and impersonal phrase of wanting the monkey to dance and go back to its cage after the performance. This is the dichotomy of artists that fascinates me the most, of the smiles, of the happy faces, of the adept performances in the public eye, but it is only the artist who knows what they are undergoing emotionally within the confines of their homes when all the cameras are shut and the lights on the stage turn off. Vitabai Gawankar may have been celebrated in the public eye, but even in her deathbed, her hospital bills were paid by donors. That is the sad reality of an artist who was for most revered, respected and raved about, but who also died with little to no money in her name. This is a story that I would love to see on the big screen, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm excited for this project. Maddock Films has been on a rather creative slump run in the last few ventures. Other than the blockbuster reception of Stree 2 and Chava, Skyforce, Bhool Chuk Maaf, Param Sundari, Thama, Ikkis, and Cocktail 2 have been either poor or mediocre films in my opinion. Eetha, however, genuinely seems like a winner in their kitty. I say this not only because they have got the casting of Shraddha Kapoor right on point, but because Laxman Utekar is directing and Ajay Atul have been roped in as music directors. I cannot begin to tell you how much of a rage this movie is going to be in Maharashtra. While most of Utekar's filmography features Hindi films, he has also directed 2 Marathi films. And for a person who is born and brought up in Maharashtra and well versed with Marathi folk culture, you very well know that he is going to do justice to this story. In the teaser, however, which looks like such a beautiful production in terms of its scale and vision, the best impression hands down has to be of the music composed by Ajay Atul. The duo just know the emotional beats and heart of a storyline, especially when it is about revered figures from Maharashtra. Everyone thought after Chhawa that they would have been the perfect fit for the storyline. They were literally solely responsible to elevate a mid project like Raja Shivaji. They even made a disaster like Adipurush somewhat bearable, with some of the beautiful tunes they offered, especially Jai Shri Ram. I remember watching this 2008 Marathi film Natarang with Atul Kulkarni, and the music composed by Ajay Atul contributed so much to the film's overall quality. Again, about an artist and his sacrifices for the sake of his art. You know very well with all the Lavani performances, Ajay Atul are going to absolutely hit it out of the park with this movie. Now, when you've got the production scale on lock, the music handed over to maestros who you know will deliver, an adept director at the helm of affairs too, the question arises, can Shraddha Kapoor pull it off from an acting point of view? By being half Maharashtrian and a commercial face in Hindi cinema, are those parameters enough to pull off such a complex and emotionally challenging role? This is where the assessment of Shraddha Kapoor, the actor, becomes very important to understand. Her merits and demerits as an actor, and a realistic analysis of her capability throughout a career spanning 16 years. When Shraddha Kapoor came into the scene, I was in school. She had signed for Y Films, which was this attempt by YRF to produce youth-catered movies. After a forgettable role in Teen Patti, which was an underwhelming film anyway, I remember having the hugest crush on Shraddha Kapoor when I first saw her in Love Ka The End. And I remember crushing over Saba Azad too when she was launched in Mujhse Friendship Karoge. I digress. But there was a cute, lovable charm about Shraddha, not particularly a perspective on her acting ability per se. But as is the case with YRF and the infamous 3-film contract, Shraddha Kapoor took an almost career-ending decision to step away from her contract and sign Ashiki 2 with the Bhatt camp. Think about this, okay? YRF at the top of their game at the time, at the peak of their influence, everyone's assumption would be that it would be insane for you to leave that umbrella, but she did. For a movie that was going to revive a 90s romantic film with another newcomer, and that risk paid off big time, and Shraddha genuinely became a star after playing the role of Arohi in Ashiki 2. I don't care what people say about being a nostalgia merchant right now, but this movie was brilliant. Its songs were amazing, and both Aditya and Shraddha had such brilliant chemistry together that Stan accounts even to this day want their reunion to happen. I digress again, but what became extremely clear about Shraddha Kapoor's choices and her ability as an actor is that she has a pleasant presence in front of camera. She has a delightful charm that works for commercial films that do not demand something exceptionally challenging or complex from her. This is something that can be seen in movies like Ek Villain and Heather, where Shraddha is not a standout where people rave about her performances, but she is appreciated. She never stuck out like a sore thumb, but I think one of the main reasons why Shraddha was never given credit as an actor, as a performer, was because most of her films were inundated with poor creative choices. Commercial movies like ABCD2 primarily projected her dancing skills. Baghi was a project where Tiger Shroff was propelled as an action star. Half Girlfriend was annoying to the point where even a Bill Gates cutout could not save that film. And Rock On 2 was a sequel no one asked for, that came and just vanished. OK Janu paled in comparison to the original Tamil film, even though I have a soft corner for that movie because of Aditya and Shraddha's chemistry, but there were no takers in theatres for that film. None of these choices boasted of her acting skills, and when she took on the risk of doing a female-led role where all the pressure rests on her shoulders in the form of Hasina Parkar, Shraddha Kapoor was completely out of her depth. She was stiff, over the top in parts, and lacked anything remotely menacing that Apurva Lakhia was trying to channelize. It almost set in stone for audiences that Shraddha may be fun in commercial movies where the pressure is off, but when something complex is demanded of her, she falters in her ability as an actor. I actually believe that one movie where Shraddha genuinely was brilliant, a performance that is slept on, is her role in Chichore, where she not only excelled as the beautiful young girl in college, but absolutely killed it as an emotionally vulnerable mother too. This perspective, however, of Shraddha being pleasant in commercial roles but slightly being out of her depth with complex characters has remained consistent. Shraddha's poor creative choices with Street Dancer 3D, Batti Gul Meter Chalu and Bagi 3 continued, and with a movie like Tu Jhooti Main Makkar, even though Shraddha looked extremely beautiful, there were still remnants of her lack of range as an actor that would get exposed when her character featured in scenes that demanded a little more emotionally from her. A lot of people associate the word star with Shraddha for how much of a massive success 3 has become due to her presence. But I have to be honest with all of you, the reason for the success of the 2018 movie is due to the comic timing and performances of the ensemble cast and Raj and DK who came up with the storyline. This is even true for the sequel. This is not a female-led film where all the pressure to deliver rested on Shraddha. It's actually Rajkumar Rao, Abhishek Banerjee, Apar Shakti Khurana and Pankaj Tripathi who delivered all the laughs, and Shraddha was sweet and nice in the role, but by virtue of Stree being the title of the movie, it does not mean that she was in the majority of the frames of the film. I made a video about this post the success of Stree 2, where there was a huge media push to make the reason for the blockbuster run of Stree 2 just being Shraddha's presence in the film. But the reality of the film, especially those who saw it, will attest to the fact that it was the ensemble cast that really pushed it to become one of the biggest hits. The pressure to deliver as a solo lead only has happened with Shraddha in Hasina Parkar, where she really faltered as an actor, while Eetha checks all the right boxes of the perfect director, the perfect musical duo, and Maddock backing it with absolute might and passion. I really hope Shraddha Kapoor pulls off this challenging role with flying colours. It is a huge task. Her fluency in Marathi and her being half Maharashtrian is just the icing on the cake, but whether she can deliver from the complex emotions the real life figure underwent will be something that we will have to wait and see. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the first look of Eetha. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.